What is up, Cyclone Nation? It is championship week, and welcome to Pregame, the Game Day preview show. As always, presented by our friends at the Iowa Clinic Men's Center. And we'd like to welcome in sponsors Fairway, Wild Rose Casino in Jefferson, of course, the DraftKings Sportsbook, and our newest sponsor, Cyclone Fanatic, the Graphite Construction Group. Thank you to all of them for jumping into our postseason coverage. And as you can see, down here in Dallas, not in the Cyclone Fanatic home office. I am in a hotel room about 4 miles away from the stadium. But there is a buzz here in town. A lot of Iowa State fans out walking around. I've seen a lot of them here in my hotel. And we are all counting down to 11 o'clock coming up on Saturday when the Cyclones will compete with Oklahoma for the Big 12 championship. So let's get into this week's top five. And we'll start with bowl scenarios as we head into this football game. Okay, so obviously Iowa State wins the game. Cyclones will be playing in the Cotton Bowl as the Big 12 champion. So that's pretty much that's a lock. Don't have to worry about that. What happens if Iowa State loses? Well, for those of you who are premium subscribers to Cyclone Fanatic, part of our Patreon group, told you a couple of weeks ago, I really thought Iowa State would probably end up in the Fiesta Bowl as an at-large in the New Year's Six. Well, there's a lot happened since then. That is not a lock by any means. But Iowa State being up to number 6 right now in the college football playoff, you have to think, well, what happens if they lose? Well, they really drop below Indiana, who doesn't have an opportunity to play again this weekend? I don't think so. I think they'll end up in the Fiesta Bowl, even as a 3-loss team. I think that that would be a spot where they would probably play USC, assuming USC wins tonight. We'll see. It'll be somebody from the Pac-12. That's my guess. Now, the Alamo Bowl is still very much in play. That would be against another Pac-12 school. We shall see. But my prediction is that a 3-loss Iowa State team would end up in the Fiesta Bowl playing in by far the biggest bowl game in the history of Iowa State football. The bowl announcement show coming up on Sunday morning. All right, let's get into this football game between Iowa State and Oklahoma. I think the intangibles are a really fascinating aspect of this game. One could say that Oklahoma has an advantage because the Sooners have played in the stadium multiple times. I think that's probably pretty fair. I think I could also point out that perhaps it's evened out a little bit the fact that there's not going to be an entire crowd. I think that atmosphere gets dumbed down just a little bit. So if that does have an impact on the Cyclones who are playing their first game in Jerry World, maybe that's a little bit of a neutralizer. We will see. I think another intangible, and this is one of the advantages that I really like for Iowa State, I think it might be overdone. A lot of people, you heard after Oklahoma's game with West Virginia last week got canceled, thought that was a big advantage for the Sooners. I actually disagree. You're looking at an Oklahoma team who's played like one game in a month. They didn't look very sharp against Baylor. Iowa State is really one of the only teams in the country that has been able to lace up their shoes and play when they think they're going to play every time out. I think that's an advantage. The schedule hasn't been nearly as clunky for Iowa State. I expect a very sharp Cyclone football team to have a significant advantage over Oklahoma tomorrow. They will be well rested. There's no doubt about that. The Sooners are coming into this football game extremely healthy. No doubt about that. But again, sharpness. I like Iowa State in that intangible matchup heading into tomorrow. And of course, Iowa State is undefeated in the black uniforms. Back in black tomorrow, baby. All right, improvement. I want to talk about this aspect of the football game. Both of these teams are a lot better than they were in the October meeting. But I specifically look at the defensive side of the football with Oklahoma. Back seven really struggled against Iowa State in that first outing. We saw Brock Purdy really pick apart that Oklahoma defense specifically in the second half. But the one thing, if you go back and you rewatch that football game, you notice Oklahoma very good up front defensively for Iowa State. But if you see right here with the tight end to tight end pass, I mean, there was a lot of confusion on the back end from the Oklahoma Sooners in that first matchup between the two. They've shored things up. Alex Grinch, the defensive coordinator, of course, the longtime teammate and college teammate of Iowa State's Matt Campbell. He's done a great job, I believe, with Oklahoma's defense. The one thing, and it drives me nuts because there's so many of these talking heads out there that don't actually watch the football games. Spencer Rattler, the Oklahoma quarterback, of course, he was the freshman, or he still is a freshman, but he's really put similar numbers up all year long. He's really been a pretty consistent guy for Lincoln Riley. You see him right here. To me, the story going into this game is Oklahoma's defense. This is a better defense than they've had in recent years on those college football playoff teams. And I think that Iowa State's offensive line, we're going to see how much better it's gotten from October until now. I know that they're a lot better too. Iowa State's a much better football team, just like the Sooners are. That's really the key matchup that I'm watching, though, when this game kicks off, is Iowa State's ability to run the football against Oklahoma, because not many teams have been able to do it. I know Iowa State's offensive line is better. I know Breece Hall is great, but how much better has that group gotten? And are they able to get that push against the elite Sooner defensive front that's much better? They've gotten more guys back from discipline reasons, from health reasons. Fascinating aspect of this football game. All right, keys to victory for Iowa State. Well, we already talked about the ability to run the football. I think that's a big thing. I think Iowa State needs to – here's the deal. I don't think Iowa State will get off to a great start in this game, because it's just not what this program does. Generally, you see John Haycock kind of feel out the opposition, and then he makes adjustments as you go on. I'm anxious to see, though, with multiple weeks to prepare for Oklahoma, what John Haycock and this defense throws at Oklahoma at the beginning. Because I can tell you what, while I'm not anticipating Iowa State to get out to a lead early in this game, if they can, I think it drastically changes everything from the way that Haycock can call the game defensively. Tom Manning can get a lot more creative if you're playing out front with a lead. I think that that's really important, to not get down double-digit scores. Not get down. Don't get down 10 early. You can get down 7 early. Don't get behind by multiple scores. If Iowa State can keep it like that going into halftime, boy, do I like the Cyclones in the second half. I also think too, and man, this has just been such a theme to the season. But earlier in the program, we saw Kene Nwangu's kick return against the Sooners. And that was really such a crucial moment of that football game in October, if you go back to it. I don't necessarily know if Iowa State can win this game on special teams, but I do think it's going to be close enough. Cyclones being 5-point underdogs here on such a big stage, I do think this is an aspect where Iowa State could lose the game on special teams, and you certainly don't want to do that. You don't want to give up a kick return. You don't want to miss multiple chip shot field goals in the game. And to me, that's something that I just really have zeroed in here because I've seen Kene Nwangu really go out and set the tone. I don't think you have to have that, but what you certainly can't have are giving away free points, right? And that's what I have zeroed in for the Cyclones. You got to be able to run the football. You got to get out to a decent start. It doesn't have to be a perfect start. And I think you've got to be really sharp on special teams. And the rest of the game, I have faith in John Haycock. I have faith in Iowa State's defense. I have faith in Brock Purdy. Let's get out and get the W. I guess we'll get to the final score prediction here. And I had a really hard time with this. I have so much respect for this Oklahoma team. A lot of you will listen to my radio show and read my work throughout the year. I've said Oklahoma won't lose again this season after I watched them play TCU. Getting to this point, though, here's the deal. Iowa State really belongs. They're 8-1, only team to get through the Big 12 season with one loss. There's just a steady sense of just talent across the board. There's not really a weak spot on this Iowa State team. I think it starts in 3 spots. Coaching's elite. Quarterback play is elite. And up front is elite defensively. And I think pretty good on offense, right? So there's this steadiness that comes with Iowa State football this season. And I don't think that goes away on Saturday. Here's the deal. I think this game's a total toss-up. I wouldn't be surprised one way or another. The only thing I would be surprised either way is if this thing's a blowout. I think it's a really good football game. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick Iowa State 30-28, okay, on a Connor Assalley last-second field goal to ice Iowa State's first Big 12 championship. And what we're going to do with this, folks, we are exercising demons. How fitting would it be to exercise the demons of the field goal unit in the history of Iowa State football to win your first Big 12 championship on a last-second field goal with everything on the line? That's the prediction. That's how it goes down. 30-28 Cyclones over the Sooners. How do you like that, Jack? Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Thanks to Matt Van Winkle, as always, for producing today's program. Thanks to our great sponsor of our pregame shows all season long, the Iowa Clinic and the Iowa Clinic Men's Center. And, of course, Fairway, Wild Rose Casino in Jefferson, the DraftKings Sportsbook, and the Graphite Construction Group for sending us down here to Dallas. Thanks for following along with our coverage. And, guys, just enjoy this. What a fun day. Go Clones.